Today's episode is for all the parents in the room. Are you worried your daughter may have an eating disorder, but you're unsure of how to tell? You're thinking, how could this have happened to your family? We've always focused on healthy eating, and we're not over the top about it. Let me tell you, no one wakes up one day and says, I'm going to have an eating disorder today. It usually happens gradually, and the initial warning signs are subtle. It's not until things hit the fan when parents realize what's really going on. So today I'm going to share with you 7 warning signs your daughter may have an eating disorder so you don't have to wait until things blow up. I'm also going to tell you what to do if you notice that these things fit with what you've been noticing in your daughter. Although today's topic may not be a happy one, it's an important one, so let's dive right in.
Do you wish you could look like you train as much as you do? Are you sick of scouring the internet for sports nutrition tips only to find information tailored to men? Do you wish there was a simple solution to fueling your body for your activity level? Are you ready to find freedom with food? It is possible to have balance between fueling your body for your sport and for enjoyment, and it's not as complicated as you may think. Can we say hello, food freedom? There's a way to have it all and eat your cake too, and I'm going to show you how. Hey, I'm Kristen, a former multi-sport athlete, a sports dietitian, personal trainer, and Jesus lover. In this podcast, you will find practical, sustainable fueling tips for female athletes that will set you free from diet culture, an ever-changing set of nutrition rules, under-fueling, and underperforming. You'll learn how to put together a fueling plan that works for you, that doesn't require all the rules, tracking every morsel of food you consume, letting food consume your every thought, with Jesus at the center of it all. If you're ready to find a sustainable nutrition plan that works for you with your active lifestyle and is tailored to your unique physiology, break free from diet culture, and finally feel comfortable in your own skin, this podcast is for you. Whip up that smoothie, lace up your shoes, and let's jump in.
So nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to have an eating disorder today. It doesn't work that way. It's a gradual process. When I was struggling with my eating back when I was about 18 years old, it started off that I noticed that I was gaining weight and I did not know how to lose that weight. And so I started doing things like eating more salads, and then I started taking diet pills because I really honestly did not have the knowledge to know how to eat. I didn't know the difference between a calorie, a gram of fat, or anything of the sort. And so I really just didn't know what to do. So I started taking diet pills. I realized that those were, 1, it was making me feel crazy, but 2, it was causing people to have heart attacks and to die. So I stopped taking those. And then one day over the summer, I was lifeguarding and I started hanging out with friends after work at the pool, and I wasn't going home to eat dinner. And so I just stopped eating dinner and I wound up losing weight. And I was like, well, this is great. You just don't eat and you lose weight. And so that really spiraled out of control. And I've heard from so many other girls that I've worked with over the years, and just people that I've known that also had an eating disorder, that tell me that they started eating healthier to become a better athlete, or they started trying to clean up their diet just to be healthier. They wanted to eat healthier, and things just kind of spiraled out of control. And they all said the same thing, that they did not have the knowledge of how to put together a balanced nutrition plan for themselves or a balanced diet for themselves. And so things just quickly got out of hand. Unfortunately, research indicates that a significant percentage of female athletes struggle with disordered eating. Estimates suggest that anywhere from 20 to 50% of female athletes may experience disordered eating behaviors or attitudes. And this can really depend on the sport, because those sports that place a high value on weight or appearance really have a higher risk of developing disordered eating or an eating disorder. And I'm using the words eating disorder and disordered eating kind of interchangeably, but they are different. So an eating disorder is when you actually meet clinical guidelines for a true eating disorder, whereas disordered eating means that the person is just having some disordered eating patterns. They're doing things that are not quite normal. Either way, the prevalence is super high for female athletes. 20 to 50% is very, very high. So that means that probably your daughter has experienced some form of disordered eating or some type of disordered eating attitude. So it's really important that we recognize these issues because they have such serious complications both physical and mental, on the child or the teenager. And we really want to make sure that we are stopping things before they progress into a full-blown eating disorder, because once you get into a full-blown eating disorder, it really makes things a lot harder for the teen to get out of. So we want to recognize the warning signs now before they get to that point. So I'm going to share with you these 7 warning signs. The first one is changes in eating habits. So this is noticeable alterations in their food intake, like they're skipping meals or they're becoming restrictive in their eating. They are doing sudden changes to their diet, such as they're becoming vegetarian or they're becoming vegan, or now they won't eat a certain food anymore that they used to love, or they are restricting their food intake because they want to lose weight. Those are all initial warning signs that things can get quickly out of control. And this is actually the very first point where I would do something about it. I would have them work with a sports dietitian like myself, because, like I said, the number one thing that I see across the board is lack of knowledge. It happened to me and it's happened to all the other girls that I've talked to. The common denominator is that nobody knows how to eat. And it does not matter if you have provided a very healthy home and you have provided healthy meals. If they don't know, they just don't know. And they don't know how to put things together for themselves. So this is a crucial moment when you want to get your daughter in with a sports dietitian. Like I said, this is something that I do. I specialize in working with young female athletes, particularly teen athletes that are females struggling with disordered eating. So if you notice that this is what's happening with your daughter, I would suggest going over to my website and signing up for a free, no obligation consultation. This is just a time for us to talk about what the situation is, what is happening, what the goals are. And then from there, I can explain how I can help and what that would look like. So I'll drop the link below, but you'll just need to go to elitenutritionandperformance.com/consult. Number 2 is a preoccupation with weight and body image. So this is where girls are really starting to pay attention to what they look like and notice, oh, well, I don't look like that girl off of Instagram or Facebook, and my belly is a lot bigger, or my legs are bigger, or whatever, or I just don't compare. And it's all about that comparison game, so that she's comparing herself to other people and then being dissatisfied with what she's seeing in the mirror. And you may think that she looks perfect because she's your daughter, but she doesn't see it that way. So if you notice that your daughter is just becoming preoccupied with her weight and the way she looks and she's not happy about it, this is definitely a warning sign. Number 3 is physical symptoms. So this would be where you notice that maybe she's losing some weight, or maybe she's even gaining some weight. Maybe she's having some changes in her menstrual cycle. You notice that she's not having a period anymore. Maybe she tells you, or maybe you just notice, oh, well, the trash can's not getting filled up every month anymore. Or she's really tired or having GI issues, or her performance is really lacking in her sport. These are all physical symptoms that you should be on the lookout for. Number 4 is behavioral changes. So this would be where you just notice that your daughter is losing like a zest for life. She's just not wanting to hang out with her friends anymore, or maybe she doesn't want to go out to eat with them anymore. She's not doing social activities like she used to. She's avoiding meals with either your family or with her friends. She's becoming very secret with her food. Maybe she just is becoming just overall withdrawn, and she just is kind of losing that fun, spunky personality that she may have and just doesn't look like she's enjoying life anymore. That is definitely a warning sign that something is going on for sure. Number 5 is mood changes. So this would be where she's becoming more irritable and you're just getting annoyed about things, especially if you're questioning her about her food. Maybe she has some anxiety. You know, if she used to love having French fries and now she becomes very anxious about that. That's a cause for concern. Or she's becoming depressed. You might notice that she's even having fluctuations in her mood that seem like they're linked to eating. I understand as a teenager, they're going to have fluctuations in their mood because of all the hormonal changes, but I'm talking about above and beyond that, and especially when they are linked to food. you'll notice that she becomes a little bit more uncomfortable around certain foods. Usually it's either carbohydrates or fats. And so if you notice that uncomfortableness, that's definitely a warning sign. Number 6 is excessive exercise. So if you notice that she's doing extra exercise above and beyond what her training schedule is, or really intense exercise, especially something that just really seems inappropriate to her lifestyle or her training needs, that is a warning sign. So keep an eye on that. Just because someone is training more does not necessarily mean, oh, they're just trying to become a better athlete. That might be the initial goal, but it might be spiraling out of control as well. So last up is signs of distress after eating. You'll notice that she's becoming just very uncomfortable, maybe during her meals, and it could be after her meals. Like she feels really shameful about what she ate or guilty about what she ate, or maybe she's not even eating, she's just pushing food around on her plate. That is a sign that something is going on. And like I said, if you notice that she's not eating her favorite foods anymore, or she's saying that they're bad, she shouldn't be eating them, things along those lines, those are all warning signs that there is something going on and you really need to pay attention to it. So if you confront her, she might deny that something is going on, but she may not. She may feel a sense of relief and think, oh my gosh, finally someone has noticed. I can kind of let this go or have this, sense of relief, feeling like somebody loves me. What I would not do is come out the gate, guns a-blazing, saying, I know you have an eating disorder. I'm sending you to the hospital, things like that. That's never going to go over well, but more go at it from a perspective of, I really love you and I really care about you and I want to help you and I've noticed these things. Can you please tell me what's going on? Or, what can I do to help you? And then some suggestions of things that I would offer up would be, one, to, like I said, get her in with a sports dietitian like myself. This is something that I do, and really say, hey, I really care about the way that you are eating and I want to make sure that you're doing things in a healthy way, or I want to make sure that you are performing at your best. Let's get you in with a sports dietitian that can help you get your diet the way it needs to be and make sure that you're getting all the nutrients that your body needs and that you're getting all the nutrients your body needs not only to be healthy, but to perform well. Now, if you notice that things have really progressed beyond that, then I would definitely recommend getting her in with her pediatrician and then also with a therapist that specializes in eating disorders. Make sure that your pediatrician knows what's going on before you go in. Otherwise, what's going to happen is they're going to weigh your daughter and announce the weight, and that might make them fly off the handle or make things worse. So have a conversation with your pediatrician before you go in and just give them a heads up as far as what is going on and what you're noticing, and tell them that you don't want them to announce their weight. They can do a blind weight on them, which is where they have them turn around backwards and weigh them, or they don't even have to really weigh them at all. But of course, if you've noticed that she's losing weight, that's something that you may want them to do. And, make sure that they're really paying attention to those signs and asking the right questions. Some pediatricians don't really know what to do. So if your pediatrician says, hey, I don't really know what to do, that's completely fair and valid. Maybe they can recommend you to somebody else that does. Same thing with a therapist. A therapist they need to know, what is going on ahead of time, but then they also need to be somebody that specializes in this. Plus, they need to be somebody that is going to click with your daughter. So make sure that you are taking care of those things. And this also, I will say the same thing with working with a sports nutritionist. If they are not on the same page and they don't click with your daughter, it just may not be a good fit. And that's okay. You can always switch to somebody else. So I offer free, no obligation consultations. And this is just a 30-minute call where I usually do it with the parent first, and then we join in with the teen. Sometimes I do it with the teen. It just depends. But, I would suggest having the parent reach out first. We talk about what is going on, what you're noticing, and then from there I can explain how I can help and what the process looks like. And then we get the teen involved, make sure that we are a good fit, and then we go ahead and set up those appointments. So if this is something that you are noticing is happening with your daughter, like I said, I highly suggest you getting a sports nutritionist, a therapist, and your pediatrician involved. And I'm going to put the link below of how to sign up for that free no obligation consultation. But that would be your first step. And I highly recommend doing that if you're noticing any of these signs in your daughter.
Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, EliteNutritionPerformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.